Hey guys, you did it. You passed all the pre-licensing courses, using all of our amazing study tools, passed the state exam, hopefully on the first try, but no big deal if you didn't. So what's next? Well, if you want to catch a $5 million listing like the one I have behind me over here, you need to join the right brokerage. But where do you start? Well, we have all those answers, so stay tuned. We're going to go through everything you need to know about picking the right brokerage. Thankfully, brokerages make it pretty easy to start your selection process because, like, literally the second you're licensed, you start getting recruiting letters in the mail from different brokerages in your area. It's actually a really cool feeling. You feel like a hot commodity. People are throwing offers at you, and it's great. Now, even if you're an agent that knows exactly which brokerage you're going to once you're licensed, because maybe your family or friends are in a certain brokerage, probably my biggest piece of advice is interview with as many brokerages as possible. Even if you know exactly where you're going and that won't waver at all, it's good to know what's out there so you can honestly see the benefits of your brokerage or maybe where it'll fall short, and in the future you might be able to bring ideas to your brokerage. Either way, start with recruiting letters, and again, even if you know exactly where you're going, interview as many as possible. So the rest of this video, we're going to go through different strategies and questions to ask during your interviews, as well as differences to look for so you can really pick the right brokerage for you. Because like any job, you really don't want to flip-flop brokerages. It just frankly doesn't look good if your real estate resume shows that you're with 5 different companies in 6 years. It's just a bad look. So let's go through it.
Regardless of what kind of work experience you had prior to being an agent, even if it was high-level sales, high-level customer service, there's literally nothing like being a real estate agent. So when you're interviewing with brokerages, probably your biggest question and the biggest deep dive you'll need to do with them is really finding out what they do to bring along new agents. As a new agent, you really can't just jump into it and handle a transaction from the get-go and know what you're doing and really know how to build a successful real estate career. So really ask them specifically, what is your process for bringing along new agents? And there's a couple bullet points to help move the conversation along. Probably the biggest thing you can ask is what kind of mentorship do they have available? A lot of brokerages will pair a newer agent with a more experienced agent. That way you can literally be under somebody's wing, learn the whole process. Sometimes you get paid for it, sometimes you don't, but literally just the knowledge that you get from being with a successful agent is priceless. A lot of times, though, you will get paid or be cut in on deals, but just ask whoever you're interviewing with if they have any mentors available and how that process works. Another thing is, especially for larger brokerages, ask what kind of classes they have. So whether an agent is new or deeply experienced, a lot of brokerages will have marketing classes or things called masterminds, where a super high achieving agent will sit down and lead a lecture about overcoming objections or new marketing strategies or how to overcome weird shifts in the market. So just ask your brokerages if they literally have classes in-house. Some do, some don't. And the ones that do, that's a huge value add if you're a newer agent. And then also ask about team possibilities. This is kind of putting the cart before the horse a little bit, but really successful agents, or some, have so much on their plate that they really want to bring team members into the fold that they can assign tasks to. So this is different than just a mentor. This is more of like an actual contractual professional relationship you have, where the team leader will hire ancillary people to kind of work under them. You kind of share income as a team, which is huge when you're a new agent, because trust me, it's really hard to make a strong living right off the bat on that. But you can also ask whoever you're interviewing with about team possibilities. That could be something that comes down the road, but they'll be able to tell you whether large teams even exist within your brokerage. You probably wouldn't be surprised to know that just about everything about being a successful real estate agent is all about marketing. So most brokerages, especially the really good ones, have really deep marketing departments. There's definitely some questions you want to ask when you're interviewing, though, because not all brokerages are created equal when it comes to marketing departments. The big thing is, and first and foremost, is ask if there's a marketing manager. So that's somebody that can sit down with agents and talk about strategies, talk about how many times you should be sending out social posts for success, sending things through the mail, where to spend your money, things to avoid. Really just an expert in the field of real estate marketing. If a brokerage has someone like that in-house, it's invaluable because you don't want to be chasing after unachievable things and throwing money at it. You want to be able to allocate your resources the right way. And on top of that, and this also is something where all brokerages aren't created equal, ask if the brokerage actually makes their own marketing materials in-house. Some completely vend out to third parties to, make open house signs, make business cards, make flyers, make digital stuff like for social posts, things like that. And others have in-house people that can do it. And it allows you to be able to order products more easily when those departments are in-house. And it allows you to be able to get them more quickly because you don't have to wait for a vendor to drop things off. So definitely ask if marketing materials are done in-house. It could be a big difference for you. You also want to ask if the brokerage has a CRM. And what a CRM is, it's customer relationship management. So it's basically a computer software or platform that organizes all your leads, all your clients. It's basically like a spreadsheet to kind of keep track of who your leads are, your follow-ups, when you've been in touch with them, whether they're warm or cold leads. And also these platforms will organize your leads and allow you to be able to send out email blasts and digital marketing through them. So some companies have a proprietary CRM that is all their own and some don't. And I can tell you that the ones that do, it's a really valuable resource because it really just helps you stay organized so you can work smarter instead of harder. And probably the biggest F word that will be important to you, especially as a newer agent, is free. Ask if you'll be given any free marketing products. Some brokerages will give their new agents, an X amount of allowance per month to, send out flyers for open house signs, for sale signs, things like that. Others will be a limited amount. Some won't give any. And also don't forget about headshots. So a very important part, and one of the first things you do when you're an agent, you go get that pretty headshot that makes you look awesome. Those can be really expensive to do, but some brokerages have in-house photography and in-house videography to be able to get you that like personalized marketing materials off the bat. So definitely ask what you'll be given for free, not only off the bat, but then kind of perpetually after you're there, because every dollar counts, and let's face it, spending money on anything that you really don't like sort of sucks.
One of the most exciting parts about choosing your brokerage is checking out the physical office space itself. So throughout this video, I'm going to take you to a couple of my different offices so you know exactly what to look for. My brokerage specializes in coastal properties, so there's nothing like having a satellite office off of PCH in Laguna Beach. Probably my favorite aspect of all of our offices is the conference rooms. This is a great place to privately bring clients, especially groups of clients. It's super impressive, you can play videos, and it's a good place to interact with your colleagues behind closed doors. This specific office is a semi-smaller one, so there's a few private offices, but a lot of cubicles. And honestly, I like cubes because it allows you to be able to hear what's going on with other agents and try to put together off-market deals. And of course, you can't have too many seating areas in any office, but you'll mostly find me in the kitchen. There's snacks, drinks, they're always stocked. They're technically for clients, but I'm not gonna lie, I probably eat 95% of them.
One of the more surprising things to me when I started as a new agent in my first brokerage, frankly, was the level of autonomy that I was given. We all know coming into real estate that you're your own business owner and you can call the shots, but they literally just trusted me to go out there and write contracts, and nobody was really particularly interested in double checking anything or answering questions unless I prompted them. So you're definitely treated like an adult, but if you're not smart and you don't ask questions and ask for guidance, you typically won't get it. But thankfully, there is usually a really good safety net. And that is either your manager, if it's a larger brokerage, or your broker, his or herself. So there is going to be somebody there for transaction assistance, to double check your contracts, to answer important questions. So there's definitely going to be somebody there. But when you're in your interview for your brokerage, ask about your manager or your broker. If you don't happen to be interviewing with them initially, you'll probably meet them down the line, but you'll look really impressive if you come into that first interview asking about your manager's experience, how long they've been in real estate, what kind of support you'll have, because it's really important once you get into real estate, and it looks really good when you ask about them off the bat. And a segue from that, ask what kind of availability you'll have for transactional assistance. Uh, it, Murphy's Law in real estate is you're going to end up writing an offer at midnight on a holiday. Like, I'm not even kidding. That happens all the time. And you want to ask if you're going to have somebody at your brokerage that you can contact 24/7. If there isn't somebody available, you might be forced into situations of having to wait to write offers, and it's definitely a benefit to be able to get things in, especially when the market's hot, get them in as soon as you can write them. So you want to ask how available people are going to be able to assist you. And also on that, you want to find out if the brokerage has an IT department. You actually have to be pretty tech savvy nowadays to be a real estate agent, because pretty much you create all the forms yourself. You have to be proficient in DocuSign to be able to insert the callouts and email them and manipulate documents. And sometimes you don't know what you're doing, or there's actual technical problems with your computer or with some software you're using online. You want to find out if your brokerage has an IT department to be able to troubleshoot those things for you. Because even if you're a seasoned vet on the computer and you're pretty tech savvy, there's going to be problems that come up that you actually need a professional for. And if the brokerage has an IT department, that's a huge benefit. Also, ask if your brokerage employs transaction coordinators. So, what a transaction coordinator, also known as a TC, does is they work with you on a deal, and they pretty much organize all of your paperwork. They'll send your disclosures to your seller or your buyer. They'll insert DocuSign callouts, and they'll just help you keep track of all your forms. I got bored one day and looked after a transaction was done. There was 57 different forms, and I'm not talking one-page things. I'm talking some of them were 20, 30-page contracts. There were that many forms to a single file for representing a buyer, and there's a few more for a seller. So there's a lot to keep track of, and a transaction coordinator helps you do all of that. Now, when you're first starting as an agent, it's good to not rely on a TC, because you actually want all the experience of going through those forms, understanding them, learning how to insert DocuSign and manipulate the documents. So at first, you're not going to want to use a TC, but once you get busier, it's definitely helpful to have someone like that in your corner. So when you're interviewing brokerages, ask if they employ transaction coordinators and if there's a cost to you for it. If they don't, there's a lot of independent TCs that do it on the side, so no big deal, but it's a good question to ask during your interview. So, as you're already well aware, being an agent, most of the time you're an independent contractor, meaning you're a business owner. So, your relationship with the brokerage is probably going to be a lot different than your relationship with other employers you've had. So, there's a lot of financially related questions that you should prompt in the interview if it doesn't come up. That way, you know what to expect. First off, again, since you're an independent contractor, you're not really a direct employee of the company. Ask your brokerage if there are any desk or office fees. Some brokerages there aren't. Other brokerages, if you want to keep a desk at the office or you want to have an office yourself, you pay a fee for that. Now, you might wonder why you would even do that to begin with if they charged you. Well, when you have clients, it's a lot more impressive sometimes when you can bring them directly to your desk or to your office. It just feels really professional and official. So ask during your interview if there are desk or office fees. It could really sway your decision because they can get expensive if the brokerage does bill you for them. Another thing to ask about, and if you've watched my videos in preparing for the state exam or kind of coaching along through the books, is about E&O insurance. And remember, that's errors and omissions. So again, since you're out there kind of calling the shots and running deals, multi-million dollar deals, having E&O insurance is really important. It basically protects you and your broker. So if you make a mistake and get sued, it's insurance coverage against that sort of stuff. Some brokerages will provide E&O insurance for you. Others will ask you to pay for it on your own. Some will require you to carry it. Others won't. I would always suggest carrying it, though. Even if you have to pay for the whole policy on your own, it's not that expensive, and there's tax advantages. It's a business expense at the end of the day. But ask about E&O. Also ask about vehicle insurance, and I'm going to cover kind of vehicle etiquette and usage on a different video, but typically a broker will ask to be listed under your vehicle insurance as additional insured, since you're going to be driving clients around, and technically those clients work for your broker and you work for your broker. So the broker wants to make sure the brokerage is covered under your car for any passengers that you're driving around, which can make your insurance go up a little bit. So just ask during that financial conversation if you're going to be required to have them as additionally insured. And probably the most uncomfortable but the most fruitful conversation that you'll have during this interview is about your split. So as you're already well aware, your broker is the one paid out on a deal. So let's say the commission is $10,000. That $10,000 gets paid to your broker, and the broker takes their cut, which is the split, and gives you the difference. So this is the number of your split. It could vary wildly across the board when you're not a very experienced agent. So I won't tell you what I think a good or a bad split is, but since you're being good and out there interviewing multiple brokerages, you'll be able to see where those fall on the spectrum. Obviously, being able to have as big of your cut as possible is important, but if your brokerage is offering all these other things I've talked about, like transaction assistance, marketing assistance, classes, they're not billing you for your desk or your office, those things all factor into whether the split that they offer you at the end of the day is a good value or not. And escalators are important too. So a lot of splits in your contract, there's performance escalators. So once you achieve X amount of sales volume, your split will become more beneficial to you. So just look for that fine print, because once you become a high performing agent and start making a lot of money, you'll actually get a bigger percentage of your money. The brokerage wants to retain you. They don't want you to jump ship and just go to a brokerage because the split's better. And B, the brokerage, they're already making a lot of money off you because you're doing high volume. So even though their percentage that they're going to take is less, they're still pocketing a ton. So definitely important to have the dollars and cents conversation.
Our main office in Newport Beach is undergoing a massive renovation right now, and you're going to get a sneak peek. The conference room is going to be absolutely amazing. It has state-of-the-art AV equipment, it's bright and airy, and it's going to be a great place to bring clients or chat with colleagues behind closed doors. And like all the great homes nowadays, the office space is now going to be open concept with a crazy kitchen, and I'm told there's going to be beer. So there you have it. There's a lot to think about when selecting your first brokerage, but it's really not that hard. Just keep in mind, you're the one doing the interviewing. If you come in with that mentality, you're going to be a lot more comfortable. They're going to catch on to your confidence, and it's going to be even easier for you guys to make a mutual decision.